Viewers, India may yet become a truly secular polity. At least the BJP government in Uttarakhand has set the ball rolling. It might have taken 76 years, but finally at least one Indian state has taken a giant leap towards eliminating state-abetted religious favoritism after 1947. No nation on earth that differentiates between religions can call itself truly secular. And therefore, viewers, I began by telling you that maybe after today, India would have taken a step towards becoming truly secular. But the Uttarakhand Chief Minister announced that the Uniform Civil Code has been implemented in his state starting today. The UCC in Uttarakhand aims at standardizing personal laws across all religions. For 76 years, that has not been the case. So from today on, Uttarakhand government will govern and regulate laws relating to marriage, divorce, succession, live-in relationships, and related matters across all religions equally. In shorthand, it means that Muslim men cannot, for example, marry 4 women or marry girls under 18 or divorce at a whim, while the adherents of all other religions risk arrest and imprisonment if they were to do the same. The UCC in Uttarakhand sets equal, pay attention viewers, sets equal marriageable age for men and women. In no other part of the country is there an equal marriageable age for men and women. A Hindu man has to be above 18 to marry, and the woman too. But in Muslim men it differs. So from today, apart from Uttarakhand, there will be, viewers, inequity. Only Uttarakhand will have one law for one state. Grounds of divorce and procedures across all religions will also be now equal. And the UCC in Uttarakhand bans polygamy and halala. Viewers, let me take you through some of the big changes that are going to get instituted from today. The UCC standardizes the legal marriage age for men and women at 21 and 18 years respectively. It prohibits both polygamy and halala across all communities. Halala is a controversial Islamic marriage practice where a divorced woman marries another man, then divorces him to remarry her former husband. While marriage rituals can be performed under religious customs or legal provisions, registration within 60 days will be mandatory. Registration of live-in relationships will be mandatory. Marriages solemnized before March 26, 2010 or outside Uttarakhand can be registered within 180 days of the act coming into effect. This is not a mandatory requirement. Any soldier, air force personnel engaged in an expedition, actual warfare, or a mariner at sea can make a, quote, privileged will, unquote, for which rules have been kept flexible. The UCC creates a simplified framework for the creation, cancellation, and modification of wills, as well as supplementary documents known as codicils under testamentary succession. BJP Uttarakhand Chief Minister dedicated his government's decision to implement the UCC as part of an overarching effort to bring India's polity in line with constitutional values, especially hard secularism. Pushkar Singh Dhami said, and I quote, "UCC is just an offering made by our state in the great yajna being performed by Prime Minister Modi to make the country a developed, organized, harmonious and self-reliant nation," unquote. The opposition has opposed the decision by the Dhami government to bring the UCC and thereby set the stage for other BJP-ruled states to follow suit. Or even perhaps, viewers, opposition-ruled states, or even NDA ally-ruled states. The Congress and other India bloc parties have slammed the BJP for trying to push through an agenda to impose what they say is effectively, quote, Hindu code, unquote, disguised as a UCC on other religious groups who are currently allowed their own rules on marriage, divorce, adoption and inheritance. That's what the opposition is claiming. The Jamaat Ulema-e Hind The largest socio-religious Muslim organization said the UCC is, quote, based entirely on discrimination and bias, unquote. It plans to challenge it in both the State High Court of Uttarakhand and the Supreme Court of India. But while the opposition is having a meltdown, the Supreme Court, the Constitution and its drafters have historically batted for the UCC. The directive principles of state policy, viewers, clause 44 state, the state that is all organs, viewers, of the institutions that govern India shall endeavor to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had this to say about the UCC. He criticized the view that Muslim personal law was immutable. He strongly supported Article 35, which was later renumbered as Article 44 of the Constitution of India, which called for securing a uniform civil code for all citizens. The Supreme Court has made numerous iterations backing the UCC. In the Sarla Mudgal case in 1995, it said, and I quote, surely the time has now come for a complete reform of the law of marriage and make a uniform law applicable to all people irrespective of religion or caste. We understand the difficulties involved in bringing persons of different faiths and persuasions on a common platform, but a beginning has to be made if the Constitution is to have any meaning, unquote. In the light of these hard facts, the attacks on the UCC raised several questions. What is secular about a country that allows exceptions to certain citizens on the basis of religion? Can a state be secular yet prioritize and even shield some religious practices over others? If the BJP is implementing what is promised by the Constitution, can it be accused of communalism? Of coming up with some sort of a Hindu code? And are those parties who are opposing the UCC undermining constitutionality? Let's open this up, viewers. Let's ask these blunt questions of Kamru Chaudhary, political analyst, who's also very close to the Congress, represents their point of view. Kamru Chaudhary, the political parties today who are opposing the UCC as it has come into effect in Uttarakhand, are they undermining constitutionality? The Congress says that we are safeguarding the Constitution. The Constitution itself, Article 44 says, hey, we should all strive towards a common law. So what's going on here?
Yeah, Rahul, I need a small help from your side since you are so well learned. Two questions I've asked of Narendra Modi government, but I never got a reply.
Yeah.
When they criminalized the triple talaq laws, when they criminalized it, I asked a simple question. Can you please submit me the data nationwide? How many triple talaq cases, that instant triple talaq cases or talaq-e-biddat cases were registered prior to the enactment of the triple talaq case and prior to the triple talaq enactment, criminalization? I did not receive a reply. I asked a simple question of the Assam government, where polygamy is banned as of now. Then how many polygamy cases have been registered in your records, in the marriage registered? I did not get a reply. So these are the cases that needs to be looked into. Whether the enactment of UCC, which is mandated as a directive principle of state policy, needs to be enacted. Nobody is denying that. But has the confidence of the community been taken into? Has the community tried to reform itself over the period of time? When the Sharia criminal laws have been not implemented in India, the Sharia civil laws, an act of faith in the country, that needs to be enacted. That's your point of view. But have you found out what does the community want? Will your enactment of the laws make it binding upon the community to follow the UCC as you enacted it? Were the tribal population of Uttarakhand left out of the UCC? Were all the communities taken together under the UCC? Were the Mitakshara laws of the Hindus or the Dayabaga laws of the Hindus been modified and taken into the UCC code of law? These are the questions that need to be answered. Otherwise, we can say these are all dog whistling against the Muslim community. Because particularly you see when you say the draft of the bill or the bill as it is being enacted, you see what are the main cases are coming out. The polygamy is banned. What is the percentage of polygamy cases that have been registered across the country? It's negligible. It's more or less spread amongst Hindu communities as well as Muslim communities. There is no denying. When you say the marriage age of the children out there is 21 and 18, data and the census clearly shows that it is not based on religion, but it is based on the economic and social factors that determine the marriageable age of a particularly the girl child in the country.
Kamru Chaudhary, can I ask you a question, counter question?
Sure.
Should we have no terror laws just because, perhaps, I'm just taking, hypothetically, should we have no terror laws? Should we have no, let's look at a country where perhaps there is zero crime. Should they have no laws at all?
What is the comparison out here?
It's very clear because you're suggesting that if polygamy, hang on. If polygamy, hang on. You're suggesting that if no cases are filed against polygamists, then why have a law, right? Why have the UCC? That's what you're asking, isn't it? Fundamentally,
not exactly.
I don't even understand where your entire set of questions were leading us to. What point? I really don't understand it. Because I can only assume that today you are... No, there is no question of not wanting to. It's illogical, sir. The point is, are you telling me... Hang on. Are you telling me... Excuse me, sir. Let me finish. Are you telling me that no bigamy, sir, and please listen to this very carefully, is prosecutable as of now under the Indian law? Are you telling me that bigamy is not prosecutable under the Indian law? Yes or no? Is it or is it not?
No, what happened is...
Is it or no? Is it or no?
Can I reply to that? 10 seconds I will take.
Rahul,
polygamy, bigamy,
Rahul, what is this? This can't be a monologue by one person on your show.
No, I'm only asking him. It's a catechism.
Indian law.
It's interesting.
But one thing
you tell me, you don't allow the
let him expose himself.
For 10 minutes.
Let him expose himself. Okay, madam, have some patience. Have some patience.
Because it involves my community.
Is bigamy, sir, is bigamy legal in India? Yes or no? Give me a simple answer.
It is not. It is not the question of whether it is legal or not.
Viewers, bigamy is illegal in this country.
Hindu people.
Hang on. Bigamy is illegal. Polygamy is also illegal. Excuse me, let me now just finish. Let me just finish. However, viewers, certain people in this country... No, 1 second, Mr. Chaudhary. Certain people in this country go out there and indulge in polygamy because their religion sanctions it and they're allowed to do so. That's why, viewers, it creates an inequity. Dr. Ranganathan, Sanju Verma, Dr. Ranganathan, am I wrong or am I right? Yes, we can look at the tribal question, but separately, let's first look at the fact that today we have come up with some sort of a secular code, at least rationalizing across all religions, one set of laws in Uttarakhand.
Good evening, Rahul. I have to say this at the outset. Even a drunk acupuncturist delivers less pain per square inch than the previous panelists' arguments. I mean, by the logic that there are not enough people who are convicted of murder, we should not have laws against murder? What is he even saying? Is he even thinking? UCC is religion agnostic. It is doing public good. If you stop a 11-year-old girl child from being married and being devastated forever, that's a public good, Kamru. It is not dog whistling. Please understand that.
I need to rebut
God
that.
knows where this rationale comes from. But anyway, Rahul, as I said, it is now rebutted after 5 minutes. Now, please wait and listen. We've spent 10 minutes listening to your diatribe. Rahul, can I please continue?
Yes,
can you mute this like his career?
Please.
Thank you. Look, there are, and this is an ample evidence of that today, live. There are two laws in this country. One for non-Hindus and one against Hindus. Rahul, a uniform civil code or the UCC is not just a necessity for India.
Yeah.
It is a prerequisite for India's unity. Religious fanatics may have held to ransom a generation previous to ours through partition. They may have held to ransom our generation through Shah Bano, but we will not allow them to hold to ransom our future generations. We have to say no to religious fanatics, wherever they may be, outside, on the streets, or on the TV panel right now. Enough is enough. Look, there are broadly 4 issues. Here I'd like to deal them briefly one by one. Number one, on the pretext of diversity, one cannot allow discrimination to flourish. And that is what has been happening. Just one example. Supreme Court recently conferred Hindu daughters with equal rights to fathers' properties going back to 1949, saying, quote, Hindu texts recognize female rights, unquote. But in India, because of the verse 411, a Muslim daughter is entitled to only half of what a son is.
Yes.
Does this not bother our activists and those fighting for women's rights? Is this not discrimination? For how long will you make Muslim women suffer discrimination by shrouding them in this burqa of diversity and then crying dog whistling whenever you want to correct injustice? Number two, there already is a uniform civil code applicable in Goa for decades. Goa has a minority population of 38%. Are the minorities in Goa suffering or being discriminated against because of the uniform civil code? On the contrary, they're very happy. Number three, the UCC is enshrined in our constitution. Ambedkar was a proponent of it. He rejected amendments of exceptionality by Muslim legislators to Article 35, now 44, that asked for the UCC to be implemented. Quote, I personally do not understand why religion should be given this vast, expansive jurisdiction so as to cover the whole of life and to prevent the legislature from encroaching upon that field. After all, what are we having this liberty for? Yeah. What are we having this liberty in order to reform our social system? What else? Rahul? Which is what? Rahul, can I not be interrupted?
Please,
this man is
Mr.
logical,
Kamru, please.
irrational.
Give it 30
man.
seconds, please. He's finishing.
Only forte is to interrupt and come up with illogical arguments.
All lies and lies.
You can come back. No problems. We are not running away. Yes, finish, Dr.
No, and the other panelists are also there.
Yes, of course, Sanju Verma. I'll come to you. I'll come to you right after this.
You
yes.
tell me, Sanju Verma, hurry up. That's what you always do. Why do you call the BJP?
Ma'am, you haven't even started. Relax, calm down, please.
No, I'm calm.
Okay, I'm going to shut down everyone's. No, I'm going to shut down your mic, please.
That's what you can do.
Okay, are we going to waste time? Because then I'll literally say I don't have time. Please don't constantly push. Let Dr. Ranganathan finish his point. He has 30 seconds to go. But if you keep interrupting me and if we keep going back and forth like this between you and Kamru, etc., we'll never finish this.
We are 14 minutes into the debate.
I don't care. I am setting up this debate. If you allow me, Ms. Sanju Verma, if you don't, please, you can feel free to leave. I can't be sitting here and being guided by other people and their sense of timing. I'm coming to you. I have told you. Okay, lower a fader, please. Lower a fader. Yes. Finish your point, doctor.
Yeah, Rahul, whatever is left of it. Look, final point I wanted to make was above everything, there is a pursuit of a law or a code that begets what I call universal good. That is just, equal, and based on science. Only then can societies progress. We have seen this time and again. The abortion limit has been decided by science and it has changed over the years. Was that not warranted? Infant vaccination, contraception, prohibited in many societies. Kamru would know this. Was that not warranted? Yep. Similarly, science tells us that marriage of a woman upon puberty sanctioned in Islam, demanded by AIPNB, ratified by Indian courts, causes irreversible physical and mental damage to the woman's body, whatever Kamru may say otherwise. He should be ashamed of this. Should we continue to cause damage in the name of diversity, Kamru? ये dog whistling है. थोड़ी तो शर्म कर लो अपनी मुस्लिम बहनों के लिए.
Okay.
Can I come in?
No, one second. Let me bring in the Samajwadi national spokesperson also. He's there. He's been there for some time, and I want to engage him on this very important point. Tariq Khan, look, let me ask you a very simple question, sir. I don't know if you've heard of the United Kingdom, especially Great Britain. It's an Anglican country. That means it's a religious state. It's a Christian religious state. Even they have a uniform civil code. Even they have a uniform civil code. We are aspiring to be a secular country, but we have exceptions being made for one community over the other. Why should your community be getting an exemption, sir, under the law? Why should you be allowed, for example, to marry 4 times? Why should you be allowed to marry people underage? Why should you be indulging in bigamy, several other things, stripping women of their rights of inheritance? Why should this be the case?
Now, as said by Mr. Ranganathan, that besides we have diversity, we shouldn't have discrimination among the society or any people. Okay, I agree. I agree. Now, why scheduled tribes of Uttarakhand has been excluded from this? Why? Yeah. What is this? Why you are doing so? You want a uniform civil code for everyone. Why are you excluding them? They are not under 5th and 6th schedule of the Constitution. even though the scheduled tribe of that region is being excluded. I mean, in this way, you are creating a social UCC, a socialist UCC. So this is the way. So when you come to CA, so you create a communal CA. Muslims has been excluded, and when you come to UCC, you create a social UCC. Now, what a great thing! I really clap for Mr. Modi's decision and BJP's decision. Now, let me say, in 5th and 6th schedule, there has been total of 14 states. In 5th schedule, 10 states which have that scheduled tribe status. Uttarakhand is not amongst of them. So, by which law you are excluding these tribals from this UCC? That means you just want a law for polygamy. Make an amendment in BNS. Make a law for polygamy, multiple marriages. It's all right. We are ready for that. But if you want uniformity across that line, so why you are creating a difference? Means tribals are excluded. You said there is no explanation by BJP that what will happen to Hindu undivided family in Uttarakhand.
Okay, can I ask you, Mr. Khan, those points are taken and I will put them across Sanju Verma right now. But I want to ask you very quickly, do you as a Muslim have a problem with the UCC? Simple.
Might be. It must be art from their clerics and higher leaders of Islam.
So the Jamaat-e-Ulema viewers is going to be going to the Supreme Court saying that allow us to marry 4 times, allow us to be bigamous, polygamous, allow us to marry underage girls, allow us to only favor men in inheritance matters, etc., but only allow us. We don't care about the rest. We need to be exempt. We need to be separate. We are separate because we are governed by a book that is greater than the constitution of this country. Fair enough. That's the point, viewers. Then clearly, if an allowance is made, then we are not a secular country. This joke will continue for another 76 years. Luckily, it hasn't. Sanju Verma, let me bring you in. On the other points, the exemptions that have been made for the STs, for example, in Uttarakhand, how do you explain that if you are saying that we should have a uniform civil code?
You know, Rahul, first and foremost, I love coming on your shows, and please don't ever intimidate me by saying, lower her fader. Please don't try and do what other channels do. You are Rahul Shiv Shankar, you're not Arnab Goswami. So you don't need to lower people's fader to get yourself heard. But I just have this to say that, I am not going to be sitting here and listening to gibberish by a rank bigot, by an illiterate radical, day in and day out. He wants legitimacy. I will not give him legitimacy by being patient and listening to his diatribe. Point number 1. First and foremost, congratulations
Rahul, can you allow
to
that
Uttarakhand to Pushkar
insult,
Singh Dhami.
abuse?
Can I finish? I did not take any names. Why is somebody getting so agitated? Can I finish? Thank you. Let me make one point very clear, Rahul. You always ask me, and very rightfully so, that Sanju Verma, for the longest time you said, the CAA rules were notified well after 4 or 5 years. You said, why is it taking so much time? So today, by virtue of the same logic, look at the rapidity with which the UCC has been implemented in Uttarakhand. The draft by Ranjana Prakash, Justice Ranjana Prakash, was submitted on the 2nd of February 2024. The Uttarakhand cabinet under Pushkar Dhami approved the note on 4th February 2024. The governor approved the UCC draft on 28th February 2024. The rules were notified on March 12, 2024. And lo behold, within less than a year of notification of the rules, come 27 January 2025, Uttarakhand becomes the first state to implement UCC. I'm not counting Goa because in Goa, the Portuguese code, also known as UCC, has been in execution since 1869.
Yeah.
So the first point is the rapidity with which this has happened. Point number 2, people who say, this is an agenda to peddle majoritarianism. No, it is not. Don't forget, Hindus were the first to actually ensure that their personal laws are progressive and in sync with the times. We agreed to sati being removed way back in 1829. Dowry was removed in 1961. We said, well and good. Child marriage was removed in 1929. Hindus said, well, fair and square. 1956, polygamy in Hinduism became punishable. We said, well, that's great. We applaud it. So Hindus have been progressive. That is my second point. Third point, this should have actually been implementable way back, because Baba Ambedkar always said that under Article 44 of the Directive Principles of State Policy, Uniform Civil Code should be implemented within the territory of India. For some strange reason, Article 44 never got legal sanctity. But simply because Article 44 did not get legal sanctity because of mistakes of Nehru and successive Congress dispensations, that's no reason to undermine the credibility of Article 44. And don't forget, the Congress has forgotten the Special Marriage Act of 1952. It was under Nehru that in 1952 the Special Marriage Act was legalized, and Nehru said, Special Marriage Act. Can I finish? Rahul, Nehru is on record saying that the SMA, Special Marriage Act, is a precursor to Uniform Civil Code. This is Pandit Nehru. This is not Sanju Varma or Narendra Modi talking about it. My final point. Be it the Special Marriage Act of 1923 and 1954, Hindu Marriage Act of 1955, Christian Divorce Act of 1879, Christian Marriage Act of 1872, Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act of 1936, all these laws are codified. But the Sharia of 1937 is not codified. Why should Muslims get special treatment? That is my other point. And my final point, just 30 seconds more. Thank you for being so patient. My final point is this. I will just read out what Justice Pratibha Singh of the Delhi High Court said in 2021 on the 7th of July while listening to a dispute between husband and wife, both belonging to the Meena tribe. And this was about UCC. She said this: in modern society, which is gradually becoming homogeneous, the traditional barriers of religion, community and caste are slowly dissipating. The youth of India belonging to various communities, tribes, castes or religions who solemnize their marriages ought not to be forced to struggle with issues arising due to conflicts in various personal laws, especially in relation to marriage and divorce. The time to seriously think about UCC has come. This is Justice Pratibha Singh of the Delhi High Court.
Very quickly, why was the scheduled tribe left out? Very quickly, just 30 seconds. Why was it left out?
Yes, the scheduled tribe was left out simply because under Article 342, Article 344 and Article 366, Section 25, scheduled tribes in some cases have been given special rights and privileges. So that is a point that will be discussed later on. The Pushkar Singh Dhami government has said we are not completely saying we
let's call this, viewers, therefore, not a UCC, but let's call it a secular code for now. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, and yes, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary, very quickly, yes.
Can I come in first?
Yes.
Can I, Kamru, please, can you wait for your
Doctor,
turn?
go ahead. Doctor, go ahead. Doctor, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. I won't be less than a minute because I know he's going to interrupt me. Look, the UCC has been ordered to be implemented on more than one occasion by the courts, most famously in the Shah Bano case. Court, a common civil code will help the cause of national integration by removing disparate loyalties to laws which have conflicted ideologies. Unquote. Ambedkar ki nahi sunni, Supreme Court ki nahi sunni, Constitution ki nahi sunni, but Sharia ki sunni hai. And by the way, for bringing in social reform and equality to Hindu society, the Congress gladly brought in the Hindu Code Bill. But cowers away like a wet cat behind a lamppost when it comes to reforming Muslim society. I repeat, I am against any law or code that discriminates between gender, sex, caste, creed, religious denomination, communities or groups. Should we continue to cause damage in the name of diversity, I ask? You want to continue to marry girl childs because a community has been doing so while every other community in India has to follow the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act? Is this pro-woman? Finally, Rahul, just 30 seconds. It is wrong that tribal community has been exempted from the Uttarakhand UCC. I've been saying it for 2 years because then by definition, it is not uniform civil code. If you want to eradicate discrimination uniformly, polygamy, child marriage, inheritance, how can you exempt one community? It makes mockery of your concern on social evils, and also exempting one discrimination. If UCC's purpose is to eradicate discrimination and unify us, it must be applied universally
across the board.
And
the question therefore is this, viewers, and that I'll come back to that. That point therefore can be addressed by calling this really a secular code, not a uniform code. We'll park that aside for a moment. Perhaps that's going to be really the leitmotif for coming up with a central law, hopefully. That's really what we want, a secular code first. But I just want to bring you in, Kamru Chaudhary, on this point. Look, and let me ask you this question. Please be honest. If the BJP is implementing what is promised by the Constitution, can it be accused of communalism? Number one.
Can I answer?
Secondly, all these years, sir, these 77 years, the Hindus were being discriminated in isolation, while everyone else was being allowed under the so-called law, so to speak, specifically because exemptions were made, to carry on as they were. Why weren't you concerned about the fact that the Hindu and their rights had been stripped by a selective intervention, if you are so secular, sir?
Rahul, basically you must understand Hinduism is a way of life.
Oh.
Christianity, wait, let me finish. You have asked some lengthy questions.
No,
Let
I'm
me
only
come to
saying,
it.
I'm not saying anything else.
Yeah, let me explain the justification out here. I will
Yes.
take just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Islam, Christianity or other religion are monotheistic religion. They are defined by set of laws as governed in their religious text. They need to be followed.
Okay.
When you talk about child marriages, let me come
marriage.
one by one. The UCC has been brought in. The child marriages, Prohibition of Child Marriages Act 2006 prohibits 18 years and 21 years. What is the need of that bringing it again? Second
No,
point.
you are wrong. This
wait.
complete laws. This guy lies like anything.
Okay,
Rahul,
but I am more concerned, viewers, about what he has said. You know, I am more concerned about what Mr. Chaudhary has said today. He says that Islam, Christianity, etc., monotheistic faiths, and therefore they must be governed by another book, the book that they respect and exalt, not the Constitution. Viewers, this is a perverse argument. Entire European Union has several. Hang on, 1 second, sir. Please listen to me now. Don't shout over me, please, sir. I'll block you again. I'll lower your fader. Please don't go on and on, please. I'm responding to a point that you've made, please, and an erroneous one. Can you imagine, viewers? This kind of thinking led to partition. This led to the creation of Bangladesh, led to the creation of Pakistan, will lead to the creation of something else. Let me tell you, viewers. This exceptionalism, no, we don't adhere to the Indian Constitution. Viewers, there are Muslims living in the EU. They are not scratching around there saying that, look, they might demand it. They might say Sharia, impose Sharia law, but they're not getting their way, viewers. In Japan, in Germany, in UK, several countries, there are Muslims, there are other minorities. Why only in India? Should people be privileged like this just because they don't believe in the supremacy of the Constitution? And how far can we go? Tomorrow they'll pull out something else and say, no, we don't believe in the penal code, we want to set our own, cut people's heads off for blasphemy. Viewers, will we go along with that? Will that also be treated as a non-prosecutable crime? How far will we take this? Viewers, think about that. This is a very serious issue. This is what I'm saying. The gestation of a separatist mindset. Yes, 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
yes,
Thank you.
Rahul, it is.
Yeah,
Rahul,
Sanju
I
Verma,
just
10
want to
seconds.
make one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rahul, my just limited point is this, that the Indian Penal Code came into existence in 1862.
Yes.
The very people who are against Uniform Civil Code under, Sharia, if you do a simple robbery, amputation of one hand.
That's
if
right.
you engage in armed robbery, amputation of both hands. If you engage in adultery and you're married, execution. If you're unmarried and adultery, 100 lashes.
UCC is to
Okay.
teach Abdul a
Sharia
lesson.
viewers.
Should you be
UCC, as
getting
in
punishment
Uttarakhand,
as
is
per
to
Sharia
teach
law?
Abdul a
Yes,
lesson.
Sharia is
Should you be
also,
getting
yes,
punishment
exactly.
as per
That's a
Sharia
good
law?
point. Sharia is also applied selectively in this country to suit
you be getting
certain
punishment as per
interests.
Sharia?
Yes, very quickly. Dr. Ranganathan, I need to move on. Yes.
No, as I say, Rahul, I have a dictum. I don't blame people like Burhan Wani or Kamaru or whoever it may be, because they stand for what is sanctioned for them.
Yeah.
I blame the Indian state for not standing up to them. It is not their problem.
Yeah.
It is the problem of the Indian state. Now, the Indian state bans animal killing in
Yeah.
Hinduism as a ritual.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it have the guts to ban halal? which
That's
is
the
also a
point.
ritual? No, it
Viewers,
doesn't.
think about it. Viewers, think about it. These are the problems. How far will we take them? But I want to move on because there is a very interesting story.